Hello ladies and gents, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at a PlayStation 4 Pro which has been sent in, and this PlayStation 4 Pro has actually been sent in as a gift from a very generous viewer who sends me quite a lot of free stuff, and I really appreciate it. It gives me stuff to work on and then I get to do what I want with them once I'm finished. So normally I don't really sell them. I've been giving a couple of them away. But a PS4 Pro, if I get this working, I might end up selling it. I don't know yet. But I get to do some cool content, and it gives me something to do as well. So I really appreciate it. So a big thank you to CG. CG is a viewer on the channel, but he's also a regular contributor on Discord as well. And he's a great guy, genuinely. He sends quite a lot of stuff, and I really appreciate it. And one of those things was this PlayStation 4 Pro. And apparently, according to the description on this one, it says that it's got a intermittent blue light of death. So what that means is that occasionally it will have a blue light of death, but not all the time. And I've got a little bit of an idea on what it could be, but I'm not 100% sure. I've got a feeling it's the hard drive, but I'm not going to know until I actually get into it. It's got a white top on it, but with a black case, so I'd have to put a black case on it, or rather a black top. I do actually have a white case, so I could potentially change the case if I decide to do that. So with that being said, if you are new to the channel and you like this type of content, then I would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and turn on the bell notifications, and that way you don't miss any future videos. Very close to 50,000 subscribers, and I really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who subscribes and to everyone who watches the videos. And it really does give me motivation to keep going, so a massive thank you. So with that being said, let's get into this repair, shall we? Okay, so we've got the PS4 Pro here, and like I said, he sent me loads of stuff, and what he also sent was these 1TB hard drives, 6 of them, and all of them have got these USB to SATA converters on them, which is pretty cool. So basically what that means is that I can plug these into the computer and use them as external drives, but it also means that I can potentially use one of these if it is what I think it's going to be, and that's going to be the hard drive. So yeah, we'll find out, hopefully, and hopefully get this fixed. I do also want to give a shout out to my Patreon page. If you want to support me, then you can head over to Patreon and become a Patreon supporter. And Patreon supporters get early access to videos as well as channel members, and there's a channel membership join button just below the video as well. Let's have a look at this, shall we? Okay, so let's just see what happens with this then. Is it going to boot in? It doesn't appear to. Let's just hook up a HDMI cable, see what happens. It's still got a pulsing blue light. Okay, let's just connect up to the capture card, see if it picks up. Nope, absolutely nothing. It is still on a pulsing blue light as well, so it has got that blue light of death. So like I said, I have a feeling it could potentially, if it's got an intermittent issue, it could potentially just be a case of a bad hard drive, but we're not getting nothing show up at all. Let's just hard reset it, because it's not going to allow me to press and hold the power button to shut it down. And I'm going to press and hold the power button. Okay, interestingly, the power button doesn't seem to be very responsive as well. Interesting, that's gone to a white light. It's not displaying on the screen, but that could be my capture card. But that has gone to a white light. Let me have a look and see if it loads up on the TV. So I've got it connected to the TV's HDMI now. And nope, it still has no display on the TV as well. So it's still got no display on the TV, but I do have a feeling that the blue light of death is caused by a bad hard drive maybe. So if you look here, we do have the white light, and I've put that into safe mode to get that. So let's hook up the hard drive to the computer and we'll read it and see if it reads as bad. I've got a feeling it's going to. Whoops. Okay, mobile HDD 1 terabyte. So let's just hook that to there. Whoops. If it wasn't bad before, it is now. Now we're going to find a cable that fits. Okay, so I've got one here that connects to my external SSD. And that should just plug in there. There we go. Cool. So I can plug this into the computer. Okay, and on my desktop, we're going to load up Crystal Disk Info. And ST1000. Huh. That's reading as good. And it's also reading as very low power on count. Whoops. No, I don't want the Microsoft Store. Whoever uses Microsoft Store. So let's load up the disk partitioning software and just have a look at this. And yeah, it's reading as a normal PS4 disk drive. So you got all of your update partitions and stuff like that. And then you got the main partition there. Yeah, it's reading fine. Alright, well, let's load up disk part. And we'll select disk 1. Make sure it's the right one, and then we'll just clean it. There we go. PA partition primary. Format FS equals exFAT quick. Go on. Huh. Shouldn't take that long to format. Oh, there we go. And then we're going to assign a drive letter to it. So I've just wiped the drive basically. Let's just rescan it now. And yeah, even still, it's showing as absolutely fine. So I don't think it's the hard drive, which is strange. So if this is having an intermittent blue light of death, we need to think for a little bit here. We need to do a little bit of logical thinking. If it's got an intermittent blue light of death, and when it's loading up in normal, what I would say is normal resolution, it's got a blue light of death, that could very well indicate either a bad encoder or a bad APU. And given the fact that the display isn't showing even in low resolution mode, it probably is something to do with the encoder. Maybe. Alright, well, I did just check the input and it's not recognised on the TV either, so we've definitely got some sort of a display issue somewhere. So let's just see if we can figure this out. This is the NVA 001 board. Most of the screws missing, but who am I to complain? I can replace screws if I get it working, that's not a problem. Well, that's got to be the fastest disassembly time ever. So I'm wondering if the HDMI port has been changed at all before. There we go. And yes, okay, now we're getting somewhere. We definitely have some work done to this motherboard around the HDMI area, so that could explain a few things, including potentially an intermittent blue light of death. Let's have a little crack at this, shall we? Okay, so have a look what we've got here then. We have a HDMI encoder which has been replaced. The port looks factory to me, but the encoder doesn't. The encoder has definitely been messed with. So one thing that does cause a blue light of death on the PlayStation 4 is the HDMI encoder, and it's usually the diode for I think this is pin 15, I'm not 100% sure, it's this one up here. If this diode is short, then that does cause a blue light of death, but I'm going to say that diode is probably not short because it is booting to a white light occasionally. But let's check it anyway. Let's just see if we get a short to ground on here. No, we do not. No short. Nope. Nope. I'm going to have to clean some of this burnt flux away. So I'm going to heat the flux up, and that's going to allow me to clean it. Then I'm going to use some isopropyl alcohol, 99.9%, with a cotton swab, just to get rid of this flux. Okay, so I can work on this area now. Let's just clean around the filters because I'm going to want to test those. Okie dokie. Shut up, multimeter. Let's just inspect this chip. So this is the HDMI encoder. That looks fine. That looks nicely lined up. That is very slightly out of line but acceptable. That's okay. That appears okay. Very slightly out of line at the top, up on this top left corner, but I'm not sure. It seems to be lined up. Okay, so let's do a couple more tests. Alright, so let's check the HDMI filters then. So we don't just want to go changing this chip because we don't know if it's good or not. If I test everything else and everything else tests out fine and I can't find any other faults, then I'm going to change the chip. So we check these in continuity mode, these EMI filters. Just make sure that we haven't got a broken line. The filters essentially act as a wire, and when they blow they go open line and it prevents the data signals from passing through. They're there to filter out noise on the data lines for the differential pairs on the HDMI circuit. And they all seem fine. Let's just get a diode reading of those filters. So a diode reading is going to tell me the voltage dropped to ground, and it's going to tell me whether the chip is good or not. And we've got 0.548 volts on that one. Seems reasonable. And we should get the same roughly on all of them. Interesting. This one right here is open line. So even though we've got continuity on the filter from top to bottom, the actual filter itself, or the actual circuit, is open line, which means there's no connection to the chip. So the question is the connection to the chip broken, or is it a chip issue itself? There also doesn't appear to be any connection there either. Let's just check from the other side, because then I'll know for sure that I'm touching it. Yep, open line, okay. Open line, interesting. Open line. Open line. I think I get the drift here. There's no way that all of these are damaged. And they're all coming up as open line. Oh, hang on. I'm getting a contact there. I'm getting 0.565. 0.565. So on the actual chip itself, I'm getting the correct readings. Interesting. So is it just a chip positioning issue? Is it not sitting flat? Back in continuity mode. I'm definitely getting a connection on the filter. Interesting. So where's the break? Okay, well, let's desolder this chip and let's just see if there's a break on the line on the pad itself, and if not, let's just resolder it, because I don't think it's making a very good contact. So this is why we don't just go and willy-nilly change the chip. I mean, that probably would have fixed it, but are we going to waste the chip doing it? That could very well be, if we've got an intermittent connection on that HDMI encoder, it could very well cause a blue light of death as well. Let's add some flux here. And I've got my hot air set at 440 degrees Celsius, so it's 40% airflow. So I'm going to remove the chip. Shut up, multimeter. There we go. And looks like we might have damaged pads. Okay. Let's just clean up a little bit here. So again, it is entirely possible that damaged pads could have caused a temporary bridge on the solder joints as the console starts to heat up and things start to expand and stuff like that. It could have caused a temporary short on the solder pads. That is a possibility. I don't know how likely it would be, but that is one thing I can think of that could potentially cause issue. Let's just have a closer look at these. You can see here that we've definitely got an issue with them. How bad that issue is, I don't actually know. So I'm going to desolder, or rather not desolder, I'm going to wick away the pads, and then I can inspect them a little bit closer. I've got a feeling what's happened here is someone has probably either lifted up too hard on the chip as it's being removed for replacement, or they might have just wicked too hard the wrong way, like the wrong direction, because it had definitely been wicked, because you can see this pad here was empty. There was no solder there. So even though it's not meant to have anything connected, there should still be solder there on the test point. Or actually no, there wouldn't be solder on there, so it'd be gold like this one here. So yeah, I'm going to say that someone's wicked it, and they could have wicked it too hard in the wrong direction. And what I mean by that is, if you're wicking and you've got pads, let's say for example you've got pads sideways here, you don't want to go this way with the wick. So you don't want to get the wick and just go like this. You want to go side to side like this, because that's the direction that the pads are in, and you're going to put less strain on it. So you wick it like this, and then when you get to these pads here that are the opposite direction, you go like this. Oops, damn it, you can't even see. So you go like this for these ones, and you go like this for these ones, because that's the orientation they're in. So you go with the direction of the pads, and that allows you to wick it away safely. Now, in terms of the intermittent blue light, it could very well just be because the chip isn't making a full contact. It could be that pads are shorting out because heat is causing them to expand and contract. I don't know. I genuinely don't know, and the only way to find out is to give it an extended test for 24 to 48 hours, not constant, but just turning it on every couple of hours or so, and then leaving it running for an hour and then rebooting it or something. Just give it an extended test if I do intend to sell it. Okay, so let's have a look at these pads again now. And actually, to be honest, they do seem okay, but whether or not they are, I don't know. Looks can be incredibly deceiving. Let's have a good look at these here. And let's try and figure out if we've actually got any breaks. So I'll use the multimeter once again. The multimeter again is going to be in continuity mode. And you can see here that we've got a pad here which goes from here up to the filter. So that's where I'm going to be testing to. And that one was reading good anyway, so that should be fine. And that is reading good now. So is that one. So is that one. Or rather, it's reading as continuous. I can't test diode mode because there's nothing there. But yeah, that is reading absolutely fine. I'm thinking it's just possibly an intermittent contact issue, to be honest. So I'm going to try putting this chip back on. So I'll try soldering the chip back on, see if that works. We were, without a shadow of a doubt, getting open line, which definitely would have caused an issue with the display. So I'm just going to tin the solder pads. And tin that one just because why not? Alright, so the pads are tinned. We're ready to put the chip back on now. So the way I'll do these is I don't put the chip in place. I don't put it near the heat until it's ready to drop on. And that's just because it puts less strain on the chip long term. So let's just preheat the board. And I'm looking for that middle pad solder to flow. Hey, look at that timing. Okay, so that's roughly in line. It's not quite in line though. But the board's got the heat in it that it needs now. And that's the main goal of that first exercise. Press down on the chip now. And the reason we press down on the chip is because that's going to ensure that it's nice and flat. And then I'm going to swap to a much smaller tip because the one that I had on was way too big. So I'm going to swap to a T12C1. Let's add some more flux there. And then I'm going to use some hot air to assist me because I'm using a conical tip. Notice how the pads are changing colour as I'm going across them. The reason for that is because the solder is bonding to them and making a nice contact between the pad and the chip. So it's changing colour, and that's what I'm looking for. There we go, that's beautiful. So I'm going to clean up now. There's a lot of flux on here now, so I'm just going to spray IPA everywhere and use a toothbrush. And give it a nice good scrub. Make sure it's really clean. Excellent. That's hopefully going to be good enough. Whether or not it is, I don't know. Fingers crossed, eh? Okay, so I'm going to check now and just see if I get a diode reading on the filters. Just see if we get any change. So for diode reading, I should have mentioned this earlier, but for diode reading, it's got to be the red probe on ground. So your positive lead on ground, and the black probe, your negative lead on the part what you're testing. We get 0.544, so no change. 0.544, that's what I'm talking about. How about this one? 0.544. 0.544. That should all be roughly the same apart from the last one. 0.543, 0.543. This one's going to be a bit higher, I think. 0.560, yeah. And 0.560, perfect. They're all testing absolutely fine. Let's test this diode up the top here and just see what happens there. 0.691, that is perfect. Flipping the board over then, we can test the components around here. So first of all, I'm going to go into continuity mode and just test this fuse. This is a fuse for pin 18 and that appears good. Let's check for a short to ground on that fuse. No short to ground, excellent. Let's go back into diode mode then and let's test there, 0.649. So pin 18 is good. This is a diode for pin 13 on the HDMI port, 0.521, perfect. I don't know what diode this is for, it's either pin 15, 16 or 19, I can't remember which ones are which. But it's one of those three. 0.651, okay, I think that's pin 19, I'm sure it is, given how high the reading is. I'm sure it's pin 19, I could be wrong. 0.683, 0.685, okay. Everything's testing out fine over there. This, realistically, should work. Keyword there is should. So, let's pop it back in the case. And let's see if it works. Was it nice and simple? I'm not going to worry about the thermal pasta. And yes, I do know I call it thermal pasta. Lots of people question whether or not I know what I'm calling it. Yeah, I kind of do. I call it thermal pasta deliberately. Actually, the thermal pasta on this one looks minty. Nice. There we go. Power supply connected. Alright. I am going to put the heatsink clamp on. Shut up, multimeter. And this was a smoker's console as well. I can see nicotine stains. I'm not slating, I smoke myself. I am a smoker. I'm just saying it was a smoker's console. I don't know where CG bought it from, whether it was one of his or not, or whether it was one he just purchased. Well, CG is super generous. He sends these from Germany, and for those of you that don't know or can't tell from the very bad accent, I am in the UK. So yeah, it cost him a fair bit just to send them. So I really do appreciate, you know, the fact that he does send them. We have some fun on live streams with them as well. And even if I get this working, I'm not going to be able to conclude the video for at least 24 hours. So I can test it continuously. So what I'll do is, if it does work, I'll just keep coming back to it tomorrow. Okay. Fan spin. Let's see if it recognises in the TV as a HDMI input now. It's not showing up. It is on a white light though. Let's just see if it picks up. That could be my TV. Let's just see if it picks up on the capture card. No, it does not. Right, I will try cleaning the cable and port just in case I've got flux in it. Oh, there we go. Boom. That's what I'm talking about, baby. It's working. We're in safe mode. Yeah, buddy. We have contact. And software version 9. Nice. Okay, so we're going to download software version 9. There is no way I'm updating this. So I'm going to go to darksoftware.xyz. I'm going to log in. I'm going to go to firmware list, and on the right hand side I'm going to download this one. No! Oh, you rat bastard. Okay. Here we go. So here's the file. I'm going to let that download, and then I'm going to copy it over using a USB. And now's as good a time as ever to give the 256GB external SSD which CG sent. It appears to work. So we're going to format this. We're going to name that PS4. There we go. And oh damn it, I wanted exFAT. There we go. Cool. And I'm going to wait for this to download. Seems to be going pretty slow. I'm going to try and find a different one. I'm going to log into my server and I'll download it to my server, see if it's faster. Alright, is that a direct link? It is. No, nowhere near faster. So using wget, still pretty damn slow, and that's on a pretty fast server. Alright, that one's better. There you go. I'll probably wget all of these and put them all on my server, to be fair. Just while I'm waiting for that. I won't do it all from the same server at the same time, by the way. And that's a pretty fast SSD. Nice. Sweet, there we go. Let's see if we can update it now. Okay, so I've got the external SSD with firmware on it, and I've got my controller plugged in. Let's see if it picks up. PS4 will be initialized, yes. Let's run the firmware. Okay, we're running the system software update. Right, okay, so as you can see, we've got no signal here. However, we do have a white light. And it's not actually turning on the controller either. I think this is an APU issue, which is going to suck. I think it's an APU issue. I don't think it's going to be... I mean, the encoder was bad, yes, but I don't think it was that. It's not syncing that controller, and it's stuck on a white light since it went to reboot into the dashboard. So you can see there that it plugs in and it does connect the controller, but no sync on the controller. See if it does anything with the power button. So what this is doing right now is it kind of seems to be stuck in a state of trying to power off. That's what it looks like to me. And yeah, look at that. I mean, there wasn't even any beep on that, which is weird. Does it display? It's just shut down. Yeah, that's most likely a dead APU. Not even an APU issue where the solder balls are at fault. I mean, that's just gone into safe mode straight away. Oh no, it hasn't, sorry, it says updated storage. That's most likely an APU fault. I don't think this board can be fixed. Yeah, it's phantom white light again. Phantom white light again. Oh, you dirty rat bastard. That sucks. It could be a solder board issue, but no, doubtful. Very, very doubtful. I could try pressing down on the APU as I'm trying to turn it on. And if it does allow it to turn on, then it could very well be a solder board issue, but I'm going to say most likely this is down to a dead APU. Usually when we get the phantom white light, it is APU itself. Like, it's not a solder board issue. Because I don't want to burn myself and that's going to be hot, I'm just going to put something there. Press down on the APU. So I'm going to keep pressing down on it. Oh! That could very well be. Let me try that again with the screen on. Because that's not going to boot up like that. You've got no chance. Maybe not. It shut itself down. Yeah, so it seems like it shuts itself down occasionally. I'm putting pressure on the APU right now. But it seems as soon as it tries to load into 1080p or 4K, it craps itself. Because it don't know what to do. Or it can't handle it. So it looks like this board is dead and only good for donor parts. The problem is the APU cannot be replaced. Okay, is it going to go out of its white light state and back to a blue light to reboot? No. No, that's a dead APU for sure. I'm 90% certain that's a dead APU. Yeah. Alright, well, that does suck. I mean, it's in a phantom white light. When it's trying to boot, or when it tries to reboot into the dashboard, it goes into what's known as a phantom white light, where it just holds on the white light and just does not change. Let's actually be a proper YouTuber and change the the video link to the proper channel. So phantom white light, it just stays in that and it'll stay in that all night until I turn it off. The memory modules are not overheating. The console's not overheating. Got no signs of, I mean there is signs of heat there but not major. You know, normal. It's normal heat transfer and it's distributed evenly across the board. Yeah, I'm going to say that this is a APU fault, unfortunately. It did appear to have an issue with the HDMI encoder, but that wasn't the primary cause. That's not the cause of the blue light of death. The blue light of death is caused by a phantom white light of death, and that's caused by a failing APU, in my experience. I could be wrong, but I've never figured out a cause for it, and the only thing that I can ever think of that could cause that is the APU being dead itself. Now, a lot of people would say, well, can you reflow and reball the APU? And yes, possible. But unfortunately, in this case, I don't think it will help. It might help temporarily. It might get it working for a few weeks or a few months. But it's not going to be a permanent fix because the issue isn't with the solder balls. If it's got an issue with the APU, it's going to be an issue with the APU itself, with the silicon, not with the solder balls on the board. So it is unfortunate, but this one is going to be a no fix by the look of it. It's a shame, but you know, it is what it is, and unfortunately there's just nothing we can do sometimes. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. You know, this is my console. It was given to me by CG, so you know, I might get to revisit it one day. Maybe transfer the APU, or even fix another board that I can put into this and get a working console out of it. I might do a revisit on it, I don't know. But unfortunately for now, this is going to be a no fix, and the reason for that is because, like I said, I believe it's a dead APU, and the only way to fix that will be to replace the board or to replace the APU, which I have done. Check out in the top right hand corner if you want to see how that works and the kind of work that's involved in it. So I have done that before in terms of for data recovery, but economically it's just not viable. And the amount of views that that video got, no, it's not worth me doing it. It's not worth me doing it. I'm better off just buying a board that I can fix and then put into this console. So unfortunately, like I said, it is going to be a no fix for now. I don't have a solution for this. I believe it's down to the APU, but it is what it is, and sometimes we just can't fix them. You know, we can't win them all. So, like I said, that's going to be this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you do have any comments or questions, leave them down in the comment section down below. I'll always do my best to answer. And if you do want to organise your own repair, you can do so by heading over to the link in the video description, consolefix.co.uk, where you can book in the repair, or you can see price lists and things like that. Or you can get me in touch if you've got a question about repair that you want to book in as well. If you've got a question about a self-help repair, head over to Discord. There's a link in the video description to Discord. We've got a huge community of almost 1,000 Discord users who are more than happy to help and help people to fix their own devices, which obviously then you don't have to send it to someone and pay for it. So head over to Discord if you want to get help with fixing your own device, and we'll be happy to help over there. It's a great community, really, really friendly, and some very, very talented people there as well. If you do want to support me in what I do, if you find any use from these videos whatsoever, then you can head over to Patreon and become a Patreon supporter by clicking on the link in the video description. You can become a channel member by clicking on the join button just below the video, or you can become a Twitch Prime subscriber for free. It's free for you to do if you've got Amazon Prime, but it does help out the channel. Head over to Twitch, link your Amazon Prime account to Twitch, and then you can subscribe absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a penny, but like I said, it does help me out. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe if you are new to the channel, and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye for now.